Yeah, so we met under slightly, well, actually quite stressful circumstance. I was doing sound. I was helping some of my students do the sound. They had written this piece for oboe and electronics, and as part of the module, they had to perform this in a concert, public concert. So there was a non-classical concert. We were sound checking there, and all my students that were trying the pieces and setting up. 5 minutes before the doors open, Aisha walks in, and I didn't know who she was. I'd not met her before. With a violin, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but my sound check is running late because they didn't tell me when it was." It wasn't her fault. Just the organizers. I don't know what had happened, but they. So she said, "I only need to play back this tape part." So she played a piece that she composed with Peter Zinoviev, which was just violin amplified and pre-recorded sounds. And there was no one else around, so I said, "Yeah, okay, it's fine. I'll play it off my laptop." So she gave me the sound file. There was no time to sound check or anything. I set up the track to just press play in Audacity or something like that. And we just waited for people to get in. The place was packed. And I was at the bar getting a drink when I hear round of applause for Aisha Rosbaeva. I'm like, oh shit, gotta get to my computer. And she started playing. And the idea was this was a piece, and she explained this to me before we actually, before she gave me the sound. That the idea is that the sound that you play back starts from nothing, and then it gradually completely drowns the live violin part. So, and so she said, just all you have to do, press play after a minute. So she started doing her thing, playing the string with the hair, one hair from the board. You know how like gypsy musicians do. I don't know what it's called, but very quietly, and got louder and louder. And then she gave me a little nod, so I pressed play. After about a minute into it, like, where's this loud noise that she's talking about? And I was aware of this really little squeaky sound. I look at my laptop, and it's coming out of the laptop. So, somehow during that time between me going to the bar and coming back, my laptop had gone to sleep and had reset the sound card to the internal sound card, not the one that was attached to the PA. So, obviously, everyone in the audience is aware of this coming out of my laptop in the end, and there's like really loud violin stuff coming out of the PA, and there's this sound trying to be really loud, squeaking out of the laptop. It was the most embarrassing time of my life. So at this time Aisha just stopped and she said, "No, it's not meant to be like this," and walked off the stage. So that's the first time we met. And so I don't know how we ended up working together, because it was a disaster. Yeah. I didn't see her for a few months after that. And I think she must have thought, she didn't know who I was, I didn't know who she was. And then somebody recommended somebody who couldn't make it, who recommended someone else who couldn't make it, who finally recommended me when Aisha was working on a performance of a Luigi Nono piece for violin and 8-track tape. And so finally it got to me. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll be keen to help out. Because it wasn't the kind of music that I normally do, and I was raised doing acousmatic music, which is all composed in the studio and then diffused on a large loudspeaker system. This piece was quite a different aesthetic, had quite a different aesthetic, so it wasn't something that I was used to working with. So, and I thought it's interesting to try and also the idea of working with a live musician was exciting. And obviously Anisha is a very good performer, and I also kind of felt like I had to redeem myself and do a really good job this time. It's similar tools but used very differently, and the priorities are different as well, obviously. So I don't compose live music, so so far I've only been performing other people's live music. So I can separate my myself as a composer from the process, basically. So I'm just acting as a performer rather than as a composer so far.
Yeah.
This time we're going to try and do something different. So,
okay. What are you planning?
Well, we are for a long time I've wanted to write a piece for her. So I started working on a piece which was meant to be largely a mixed piece for live violin and unprocessed live violin, or maybe just slightly processed, with a pre-composed electroacoustic part. And then I got a bit bored of that idea because I thought it's been done so many times, and it didn't really excite me. And to be honest, I'm not that good with writing music because I'm much more hands-on. I need to hear what it sounds like on the spot, and I'm not good with notes. Even though I play the violin, don't really get excited about writing notes. So then I thought I'll give it up, and then this opportunity came up, and I was at the same time working with Aisha, trying some ideas with using different sensors or contact microphones attached to the wrist to try and get some kind of gestural data out of her playing, which also didn't really work for me, but then we thought maybe we'll try and come up with some sort of interactive situation. So I'm basically just programming at the moment, just making some instruments for live remixing of what she's doing. We'll see. Yeah.
So that's using the gestures of her playing the violin as well as the sounds that she's producing?
Well, at the beginning that was the idea, but I always find sensors a bit gimmicky, and I haven't really found a way of dealing with that, because past the first second of seeing it, then you know the relationship is pretty straightforward, and so we're really focusing on the sound now. Well, I am anyway, and she's a very good improviser, and she's also very good at reacting to what's happening, what's coming out of the PA. So that's I think where the focus is now. And I'm not treating it as a composition. I'm just making an instrument which I can perform with, where the performance is not manifested through the physical gestures, but it's just manifesting the sound itself and the interaction between the sound and what she's doing. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But the instrument is based on analyzing the sound that's coming out of the violin. So it is indirectly following her gestures, I suppose, because her gestures influence the sound, which is then being analyzed and then reconfigured, restructured.
So essentially you'll both be improvising. She's improvising and you're using your...
It may be more structured than that, but yeah, that's the starting point. At the beginning we both came from very different, we come from very different backgrounds in terms of our approach to music. I started up I started playing the violin and then soon got distracted with composition and then acoustic composition. And so I sort of forgot about instruments and live performance, and so I was focusing on studio practice, whereas she obviously comes from an instrumental background. So at the beginning, it was clear that even though we worked really well together, because I focus on the performance and on getting things to work basically in performance, and not on compositional ideas. So we can manage to work really well together. And I helped her record her album as well, her previous album, not the first one, which meant a lot of hours in the studio. And so we worked well together. But it was also very clear that we have very different sets of values, aesthetic values. So this is now, I'm sort of thinking I'm a bit tired of doing the old acousmatic music, and so I'm beginning to shift I feel like I'm shifting my direction a little bit, so it's a good time to start something like this. Where it will end up, I don't know.